Everyone, welcome to the first Gianni team selection of the new season. It's come round already, Gianni. You're putting yourself through it again. 38 weeks, looking at your team, analysing your moves, looking at you had a good season last year, poor season the year before. How are you going to do this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for a good one. It does get harder every year. There is no question about it. You only have to look at the views of content creators' videos to realize there are more engaged managers. With YouTube views, you look at Twitter following or Twitter following audiences going up. Can't get my words out. I'm so excited. But yeah, look, I'm back for a third season in a row. Maybe a fourth doing team selection. I can't remember if I did two with Andy or not. But yeah, great to be back again. I almost feel like I need to put out one of those tweets that, because everyone's doing them at the moment, aren't they? Like, delighted to announce I've signed for Scout again or something like that. Like, I'm not one for those tweets, but I feel like it's a pretty big deal that we're doing this again because it's my
Yeah.
favorite time of the week.
Oh, how nice. I mean, you're everywhere at the moment. You're on different videos. You're like doing the Premier League stuff. Your stock is high. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, let's hope I have a good season, or it will. Or
Will
it'll be
come
on a,
crashing down. That's normally how it works. Before we get into the video, let's talk about a new partnership between Fantasy Football Scout and Spitch. You might have seen Spitch mentioned. You might have seen Gianni, playing football with Harry Redknapp and co, which was amazing. For anyone who doesn't know what Spitch is, it's essentially a new fantasy game with a free-to-play version or a paid-for version with different prize pools. There's quite a few differences between it and FPL, which I think is quite exciting. Gianni, I'll let you take it away. What can we expect from Spitch this season?
Yeah, I've been playing the game for 6 months just to put it out there, and I think by game week one, I'd like to think there'll be a huge amount of FPL managers that really know about this game, this app. And it is very different to FPL, which is quite nice. It rewards way more things than FPL. So FPL, our currency in FPL mainly is clean sheets, goals, assists, right? Well, Spitch is a little bit more like the bonus point system in the respect that bonus point system in FPL is like 32 metrics, but we only see very few points going towards bonus. Well, the Spitch system is mainly like that. It rewards things like recoveries and interceptions and tackles and throw-ins. So it's way more complex, which means your DMs and your centre backs also come into play. Because in FPL, we definitely discard DMs unless they're on pens. And even then, we don't really pick Jorginho. And centre backs, we kind of used to pick, but we don't pick much anymore because there's fullbacks and wing backs that get so many attacking points. Well, Spitch rewards things like clearances and interceptions and tackles, which centre backs do really well for. So your DMs and your centre backs come into play as well as all the others. So yeah, it's a complex game, which is really fun, especially if you're into your data and your numbers.
Well, the flip side of that is they also penalise things quite heavily as well. So obviously in FPL you've got the red cards and things like that, but you miss penalties. Like faults is an interesting one. Just general like errors that players make in a game. Fouls are penalised. Shots off target. So there is quite a complex scoring system to this for the people that want to kind of dive into it a bit more. I think it's really exciting and really cool and something different to anything else kind of out there. I mean, the key thing for me as well is there's some other differences in terms of there's no captain, for example. We talked about the season-long game, which is this. So it's a £5 entry, or there's a free version as well. But essentially, you pick a team each week, so it's like a free hit team each week, and it's your best 5 scores throughout the whole season. So if you were to join in game week 33, for example, you could still win it because you could have 5 blinding last game weeks and still come through. So you're not penalised by missing maybe the first few seasons. So you can play for free, see if you like it, and then head over to the paid for version as well. If you do free season mode, £2,500 in the prize pool just for signing up. So it's really cool. We're going to be talking about it each week. If you head to the description, you'll find a link to the app as well. Download it, give it a try. Let us know in the comments what you think about it. Again, I think it's really cool and something completely different to anything else that's out there. So really looking forward to seeing how it grows and develops over the coming season.
Yeah, I think it's here to stay, which is great because like it's something that I want to play all season. Like last season when I started playing, the season long game wasn't around, so I was playing the weekly games, and every Friday I was doing my Spitch team, a bit like when I do my FPL team. I did them hand in hand. But now I can play the season long game, and I've got a better chance of winning it if I'm engaged through all 38 weeks. But of course, you can come along in game week 30 and go, I want to play the season long game, because it's taken an average of your best 5 game weeks. You can still enter. So many give up in season long games, whatever. FPL or any type of fantasy game. They give up in September, October if they've got off to a bad start. This keeps you engaged, which is quite nice.
Yep. Awesome. Yep. Check it out. Check out the description. Download the app and give it a go. Right. Let's no further ado then. Let's go straight into your team. We've kept you on the back burners really. Obviously we've been doing all the team reveals for Scout. You'll notice that Gianni was a notable omission. That's because we wanted to save it for this stream. Hopefully you like the thumbnail, the reaction shots. Gianni sent me about 10 or 15 different reaction shots, depending on what his game week's going to be like. So you've got to see how he's done basically from that.
There's going to be some brilliant ones, isn't there?
There is some absolutely excellent ones. So for the benefit of the podcast listeners, Gianni's team at the moment, and it is a bit different. I was quite happy to get this team through. It's Ramsdale in goal. It's Trent, Cancelo, Perisic and Doherty, double Spurs wing-backs. It's Martinelli, Salah and Bailey. And then up front, it's Darwin Núñez, Gabriel Jesus and Harry Kane. So, triple Spurs, triple Liverpool, triple Arsenal. Yeah. Loading up on 3 teams.
Yeah, if you look at that starting 11, everyone plays for a big 5-6 team, other than Bailey. So yeah, it's big there if you include Arsenal in outside the big 4. Last year's top 5, Arsenal finished 5th, didn't they? So yeah, obviously there's a few question marks over this team, but there's also a lot of locks. The players I'm doubting is Kane or Haaland's a big one. Darwin could come out if I bottle that punt. I need the press conference from Klopp to think if he says anything about Firmino starting, I could buckle under the pressure. But I still think 30 minutes of Darwin versus Fulham is still a good thing. And then the keeper, again, I'm not 100% on Ramsdale because I could move down to a 4.5, knowing Ward has become a player and we think Ward will play game week 1 for Leicester. Therefore, Ward with a 4.5 could rotate well, for example, Sanchez. But other than that, I'm pretty sold on most of this team. I don't see many changes. Kane, Haaland is the big one, possibly the keeper, possibly Darwin. But other than that, I think I'm pretty locked.
I mean, I haven't seen any teams with Perisic and Doherty. I mean, for quite a few people, Perisic on his own is too big a gamble. I know you've been talking him up. You're a huge fan of him, obviously, from Italy. I've got him in my side at the moment. I think I'm pretty much set on that. I think you're probably the same as me. If he lines up in that last pre-season game, he's in. And there he was, played 70 minutes.
And he played 70 minutes, yeah.
He did. There was some comments from Conte which weren't amazing. I think he did sort of say something about his fitness and, there's kind of downplayed it a little bit. But from what I've seen of him, even in pre-season, he is so much better than Sessegnon in just about every single regard. And that's no disrespect to Sessegnon. I think obviously he's a very good player, but Perisic is, almost world class. Well, he is world class, isn't he? He's a Croatian international, done it all.
Scored in a World Cup final, I think.
Exactly. So I don't think there's any doubt that Perisic is going to be the main man in that left wing back spot. And it's purely just whether I started with him or not, and I'm in the same boat as you. But going for the double up is interesting.
Yeah.
What's Matt Doherty doing in there?
Do you know what? I had the double up 2 weeks ago, and then I took Doherty out because he missed a friendly. And then I said to myself, if both play 60 versus Roma, they'll be in my game week 1 team. And against Roma, they lost 1-0. But Doherty came off at 64 and Perisic 75 or something. They both made it 60. And I was like, no, they're going back in, both of them. And then I was flirting with the idea of just Perisic and thought the only reason I'm not going for the double up is because the idea of too many eggs in one basket, that's ridiculous. Look at them individually in their own right. In the 5 million defenders, do you want Doherty, Trippier, or Luka Dean? Or Kyle Walker? They're my options. And forgetting the fact I own Perisic, Doherty is my first choice by a country mile. If the guy plays 60, which I think he will more often than not, especially to start the season before Jed Spence becomes a thing, I want him on my team. These Spurs fullbacks are more attacking than any other team, and I include Chelsea in that. The Tuchel system, he loves Chilwell and Reece getting forward, but arguably these Spurs fullbacks, wing-backs are even more attacking, and I think Perisic will potentially break the game. I think his ownership is going to be 50% plus in the next couple of weeks if he scores early. But Doherty is 1% owned as 1%. He's definitely the first choice. Lucas will only play right wing back when they're chasing games because there's been a lot of said, rotation risk. There's Lucas, there's Jed Spence, there's Emerson Royale. So Lucas will only play the very end of matches if they really need a goal at right wing back. Jed Spence is going to take a lot of a lot of time on the grass before Conte puts him in the 11. A lot of time. I'm thinking game week 5, 6, 7 onwards will when he'll be considered. He's not had a pre-season. And Emerson Royale is pretty weak, and Conte likes him in terms of a safe pair of hands, but against weak opposition, there's no way he's going to go Emerson Royale over Doherty if they're both fit. Emerson Royale could play some of the tricky games against better attacks. Chelsea game week 2, I don't mind if Doherty doesn't play game week 2. I can sit on my bench for that one. I want him playing against Southampton and Wolves in 3 and Nottingham Forest in 4, and I think he will.
I guess the danger of Doherty is you kind of feel like he's 1 or 2 bad games away from being dropped, right? Because there's so many options there. Whereas at left wing back, has Reguilon gone? Or is he still hanging around?
He's still there. I don't think he's had a look in pre-season. I don't think he went on the tour.
I don't think Conte likes him at all. But you think Perisic is definitely the top of that pecking order. Sessegnon can fill in kind of where, if and when. But Perisic could have a couple of bad games and he's still going to be trusted. Whereas Doherty, he was so poor originally, and then suddenly just came into it. He's had this injury. I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, to me, Walker at 5 with Cucurella now leaving for Chelsea, or what it looks like he's leaving for Chelsea. I'm looking at Walker at that 5 million, and I think there's some good 5 million options. I think Doherty's up there definitely, but with Gabriel, with Walker, with Dean and Cash, Zinchenko as well. I think having that 5 million
trips,
and Trippier is so many. I think having that 5 million slot is really nice. You just need to be careful that Doherty's price doesn't go down maybe if he does miss out on games.
Yeah, well, the good thing is at 1% owned, he shouldn't go down much because no one's got him to affect those transfers out.
That's true. And you've got money in the bank. That was the other thing I wanted to mention. 0.5 million in the bank. I mean, looking at your team, it's hard to know where you could upgrade. I mean, Bailey to Neto, that would be popular. A lot of people going for Neto, but I'm guessing you're banking on Bournemouth's problems at the back and Villa feeling quite strong. But having that 0.5 is a bit of a safety net, isn't it? For things like that, in case prices do change.
Yeah, because I'm still in 2 minds if I'm going to book in that transfer between Kane to Haaland in game week 2. And if I go with Kane, I'll very likely be booking in a transfer, or I go for Haaland in the off. But if I am booking that transfer in, then because of rises and stuff, it's nice having a bit of buffer in the bank. But yeah, originally this team without Doherty was Reece James and then a 4.5 keeper, so it had 0 in the bank. And I thought, do I want Doherty and a 5 keeper or 4.5 James and money in the bank? And I think that's my answer. That's the one I want, the latter. So yeah, at the moment, there's no massive upgrade needed. I guess if I took Darwin out for whatever reason, that could reshuffle the cash, and therefore I might have that could change things. But at the moment, I think in terms of the price points I'm at, the formation I'm at, I think it will just be the personnel that changes. For example, the keeper or Harry Kane.
Let's talk about Nunez, because he's a very
high risk.
Isn't he? I mean, he was in no one's team at the start of pre-season. There was that video that went round of him missing some open goals in training and in matches, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's rubbish. Look at what Liverpool have done." Blah blah blah. Yeah. His stock's been on the rise. I mean, Jota got injured as well. He scored obviously off the bench in the Community Shield. A lot of people still going for Diaz, but then Robertson is popular. So there's kind of a 50-50 split there. You've gone the opposite way, though. I am seeing Nunez creeping into a few teams. Late Rise has got him. Is hot.
No, I think he's sold him already. I think he flirted with him and then binned him off. And I saw a few people off the back of that do it, and they've all binned him off now.
He seems to me like quite a flirty player, but not someone who I'd want to commit to. Someone that I'd want to, have a dance with, maybe a bit of a kiss at the bar, buy him a drink. But then when it comes to, let's go out for a meal, it's like, not quite sure I'm ready for that, Darwin. Yeah. But you committing? You're taking him out for a slap up dinner?
Unless, do you know what? I think there's a good chance Firmino starts. Like, he started the Community Shield. There's a good chance Firmino starts against Fulham. If he does, Darwin's still going to feature. And yeah, it seems silly to pick someone that's just going to get 30 minutes. Now, I think there's still a very good chance Darwin starts. I'd probably rate it at 60-40, right? It could swing either way. And a lot are saying 90% likely Firmino starts. I don't think it's that clear cut. But against Fulham with half an hour to go, like against City with half an hour to go, I still think he can get points. And then he can play against Crystal Palace at home, again, which is an okay fixture. And even United's not a bad fixture. And then it's Bournemouth and Newcastle. Like, we know how good Liverpool's fixtures are. Now, they're very good for Robbo and they're very good for Diaz too. But for me, the guy out of all 3 of those players with the highest ceiling, and I'm all about high ceilings, I think is Darwin in any individual game. And I just want that one fun, explosive, high ceiling pick. And I always try and do this with FPL teams, whether it's mid-season, or not. As template as my team could look with some players, and there is a core template, and it's there with same as every team. I'm bored of the absolutely 11 men template, and there's no way I don't like, that's not how I like to play the game. That's not saying it's the wrong way to play the game. Christ, those that are on templates often do well. It's the template for a reason, and I don't want to pick Darwin just to go against that, but I'm looking at it going, no, I want a fun, explosive, high ceiling pick, and I think he's absolutely that. The fixtures are there. He's an elite finisher. Last season tells us that. I think his XG was something like 15, 16, and he got 25 odd goals from that. So very, very good finisher. And I think he'll get a huge amount of big chances because when he plays for Liverpool, unlike Bobby or Jota, he stays in between the goalposts. He's a poacher.
Yeah, I think you've half and halved your team. Quite interesting. And, I think Ramsdale, Trent, Cancelo, Salah, Jesus, they're the kind of standard ones. But then, you look at Perisic and Doherty, that double up. I mean, that's risky both sides, as we've talked about. I think Martinelli at the moment looks nailed on. Smith Rowe is a doubt for the first game, and he's been playing pre-season, but there could be some rotation that comes through in there. I know he's very template, but I still think there is a bit of risk with him. Bailey, again, great pre-season, could be out the team in game week 1. You never know. Sometimes pre-season form doesn't translate. Darwin's a bit of a risk, and then you're going for this Kane Haaland switch to make that, to try and chase the ceiling, right? You want a Spurs attacker in game week 1, and then you want to get the Man City one in 2. So it's a very high ceiling team. You're going for it. I mean, it could be a wild card in game week 2 or 3, but it could also be really, really high up in the ranks. I like it.
Yeah, and I might take a little step back, and the step back I don't think is ditching the double Spurs fullback. So I'm pretty sold on that, and I don't want the step back to be Darwin unless Klopp says something really anti him starting. As long as I believe he's got a 40-50% chance of starting, which at the moment I do, I'll punt on Darwin. But the Harry Kane one's interesting. I could go, I know I'm making that transfer game week 2. I've already got double Spurs attack in my 2 defenders, not covering Harry Kane. You can't cover Harry Kane unless you're buying Son. Like, arguably those two cover each other because one assists the other. Other than that, you can't cover him. But I could go from the off. I go Haaland because I won in game week 2, and then I'm saving that transfer at least. So I wouldn't be surprised if this team looks exactly like this, but with Haaland on Friday.
Yep. Just before we go into some of the players that you're missing, notable omissions, just to say, if you're enjoying this video and you look forward to watching Gianni each week, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you drop us a like, leave us a comment as to what you think about his game week 1 team as well. Like we said, I'm looking forward to doing these across the whole season. I think I might be putting myself in the hot seat as well. I might be doing a short team reveal on a Thursday.
I love that.
Just on my own. It's always worse when you're with someone because I can kind of grill you a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I'll just.
Well, I'd love you to do it on this video, but one, it'll be too long, and 2, we'll just be at each other.
I bet you would. Yeah. No, I'm gonna deliberately just do it on my own, then I can't argue. Maybe I'll even pre-record it. I don't even get the live chat comments. It's I'm not as ballsy as you, I don't think.
Love that, mate. Love that. And when you say subscribe and like and stuff, like genuinely, if you like this video, do give us a thumbs up, because I don't get YouTube and algorithms and you know that. But I do understand that the more likes we get, the more people that see this video, and that helps build our community. So if you actually do like what you're seeing, take that 3 seconds out or 0.3 seconds out to hit the like button.
All about likes, all about comments. That's why all the YouTubers ask for them all the time.
Oh, comments too. Okay,
comments too. Yeah, it all boosts you up the ranks. So yeah, I mean, the more comments we get, the more likes we get, the more videos we can do. It all snowballs. So yeah, but we really appreciate everyone's support for all the stuff on the channel so far. Like I said, let's talk about some of the players that you haven't got then. Firstly, let's talk about Chelsea defence.
Yeah.
Difficult with Chelsea. I mean, you're a Chelsea fan. You haven't gone for Mount. You love Mount. You haven't gone for Sterling. Haven't taken that punt. You haven't gone for any of the wing backs that you speak so highly of.
Yeah.
What's the thinking there?
Yeah, the 3 Chelsea assets I really like for game week 1, but you just can't have them all. Is Reece, Mount, and actually Sterling. I think Sterling could be a really, really good asset. And the beauty of having a Darwin means I can get to Sterling fairly easily because I've got money in Darwin, who could be a sellable asset, right? He's 9 million, Sterling's 10. So different position, I know, for those going, oh, he's a forward. Yeah, 2 moves, you can get anyone. I'm never fixed on like positions and stuff. 2 transfers, you change your formation very easily. And we do it all the time. Reece James, I really, really like, but I am worried he will get some game time at right centre back. Hudson-Odoi's had a good pre-season and can play right wing back. As Piliqueta's only getting older. The signing of Cucurella is good for Reece James because it means Koulibaly can play right centre back instead of left centre back. But even so, I do worry some of the opponents Chelsea have. For example, they play Leicester game week 4, Spurs game week 2. Against Leicester in the past, Reece has marked Vardy and played right centre back. Against Spurs before, I think he's played right centre back to keep an eye on Son. So I wouldn't be surprised. And I just don't think Chelsea have looked brilliant pre-season to really be confident on them. They played well against Udinese last Friday. That was their best performance. And Mason Mount and Sterling linked so well. And that's really good signs for England and Chelsea. And I do think Sterling and Mount will both become very good options for Chelsea. And potentially when those fixtures get way better in like game week 4, and maybe when we're wildcarding, we'll be looking at some of the Chelsea assets. But until then, I think I'm okay just to monitor it. Like for me, I don't have an 8 million midfielder. If I did, I do think it would be Mason Mount if it wasn't Luis Diaz, the third Liverpool asset. I do think I prefer Mount to the City lads, to Kulu and to Saka. But I can't get an 8 million mid, and I could, but that would mean swapping out Martinelli. And I think Martinelli is really good value. So yeah, no Mount, no Sterling, and no Reece James, who's 40% owned. So if Reece bangs and he has got the high ceiling, that can cost you, but I'm happy going without.
Yeah, I mean, the 8 million mids was going to be my next question. Obviously, Diaz is really popular. You can't have him because you've got the triple up with Darwin instead. Saka, you've gone for Jesus and Martinelli and Ramsdale, so you haven't got the spot for him either. Kulu, you couldn't have him either because you've got the three Spurs players. So it's only really Mount in the 8 million bracket, or maybe like a Mahrez or a Foden. Your boy Foden, is he someone that you've thought about?
Oh, so the reason I wanted an 8 million mid for game week 1 was so I can switch to Foden game week 2. And that would mean I don't have to have Haaland, I can have Kane. But watching Haaland in the Community Shield just made me want Haaland. I know he kept missing big chances and his XG was 1.5. But what I needed to see in that game was him start, tick, play more than 60 minutes, tick. I think he got 90, tick, and then get some big chances. Now, ideally, he scores them. But what I really want to see in nines is actually chance creation. Because when you're an elite finisher, you know they'll end up scoring. You just want to see them getting the chances. Like Lukaku last year, if I'd start seeing him getting loads of chances, I'd have bought him in my team. But we never even saw the chances, not the goals either. So we didn't move there. But Haaland, sure, City have got to adapt. And there was a few times where you look at his runs and go, why wasn't he getting the through balls? We saw that in the first half a few times. But that will come and he's still getting big chances. West Ham have got a few injuries at the back. And Bournemouth game week 2, I know I'll want him in my team. So the fact I'm going to have Haaland game week 2, possibly game week 1, meant I was okay dropping the 8 million midfielder slot because I don't necessarily need Foden if I've got Haaland. I'm happy with one City attack for the time being. But Foden will be a starter, absolutely. We saw him come in the Community Shield, looked amazing. He's Pep's boy. Pep loves Foden. Whether he's playing left or right, he will start, I think, 28 of the 38 Premier League games, like unless he's injured, maybe more.
Where do you think he most likely lines up on the right or left? I find it really hard to know. He wants to play right, is my understanding.
Yeah, and we saw him play right, not last season, but the season before that, and he finished the season really well on the right. And they got to the Champions League final, I think, that season. Yeah, it's the season Chelsea beat him in the final. I think he'll play left because I don't think Pep's absolutely sold on Grealish. He bought him up. He's always first sub when Grealish starts. And Foden came on the Community Shield and looked much better than Jack. So, and we know Alvarez can play on the right as well. And again, he's someone that could be a really in-demand player. If he starts getting starts, we know Pep wants that work rate, that pressing game that Jesus used to give. And he said Alvarez does the same. Well, Mahrez doesn't do it. So again, I would be going nowhere near Mahrez this season because I just think the minutes are way too risky. I think Grealish will get more minutes than Mahrez, but I think Foden gets more minutes than both.
Yep, good. Okay, so before we finish, how many? I mean, we're both at Fest on Friday. Obviously, if you haven't got your ticket yet and are thinking about it, just calm. It's going to be such a good night. Really looking forward to it. Doors open at 4:00 on Friday.
Hey, as about that, you don't know this because we tweeted it when we've been talking. This is pre-recorded, but as part of that night on Friday, Spitch are going to give away a trip to New York for one winner. How amazing is that?
Whoa, that's for the New York Fest, right?
Yeah. Sorry, so it's a trip with me, Mark,
Oh God,
and Ed.
oh
Yeah.
God. Can we take cash value instead?
yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. It will be part of the Spitch game on the night, which will be picking 11 players from Arsenal and Palace, and then we'll be able to give the winning prize out at 10 p.m. when that game's finished.
That is really cool. That is really cool. Yeah.
So no, I can't wait for that. So yeah, we might see you at Fest, guys.
Yep. See you all at Fest. Well, my question to you, Gianni, is when the deadline comes.
Oh God.
At 8 p.m. 8 p.m. on
6:30.
6:30. Oh God, so clued up I am. Is it 6:30? I thought it was later.
Yeah, because there's a game at 8, isn't there?
That's right. Of course it is. Game's at 8. Deadline at 6:30. I'm so out of the loop. I need it back. How many of these players? How many of these 11 or 15 are locks? Who can you put the little lock emoji next to?
From the 11. Actually, I don't think the subs will change. Gilmore could change. Let's talk about the 11. Yeah. I think 8. The only ones that aren't are 9 would be Kane or Haaland. So Kane's not locked. Darwin isn't locked until the press conference.
Whoa.
And with that, if I sold Darwin, that could affect Ramsdale and that could affect Doherty. But I'm pretty sure I could put a lock emoji on Doherty, Perisic, Cancelo, Trent, Martinelli, Bailey, and Jesus, and of course Salah.
Okay, good. I'll remind you of that when everything changes.
10
minutes before the deadline.
History shows me that on the Friday, I don't tend to change much because I'm so busy at Fest. Like last season, I wasn't even on top of the press conferences because I was preparing. But this year, at 3:00, I'll be reading the scout articles to go, press conference roundup. I'll be watching Neil's video if I can to make sure I don't miss any nuggets because it's so important.
Yep. Awesome stuff. So do check out Spitch. We've mentioned it a few times throughout this video. We are genuinely really looking forward to getting involved in both the free and the paid version. Lots of great prizes coming, and you can learn all about it on these streams and again at Fest as well. But there's representatives there from Spitch at Fest, isn't there? So you can talk to them and find
there's
out.
There's going to be a Spitch football game, which I'm looking forward to. We're going to do a top bin challenge.
Oh God, I definitely won't be winning that. That's awesome. Gianni, it's going to be great doing these again with you throughout the season. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you very soon.